Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the McGonagall Boxing Podcast. So just want to touch base on the Dillian Whyte Tyson Fury escapade. It's a bit of a mess, isn't it? And we're literally 2.5 weeks away from the fight. It doesn't feel like we're 2.5 weeks away from a major fight, does it? I have to say the promotion on both sides has been appalling. Bob Arum over the last couple of years, and he's been gripes about this with his fighters, like Terence Crawford, does not promote well, I don't believe. The only one I think he's done a good job on, ironically, was the Tyson Fury fight against Wilder, the Wilder trilogy, but you have big characters here. Now, I know Dillian Whyte hasn't played ball, and it's something I don't agree with. You know, ultimately, he's not happy that he's going to get a set purse, even though it's the biggest purse of his career. But he's got to think outside that box. You know, this is his golden opportunity to make a big name for himself in the States. Tyson's already that. Whyte is not. So by not attending press conferences you've seen around the world, especially in America, you're losing all that traction. Imagine he gets sparked out early on. That's all the American fans are going to see of him, rather than the fact he's a good talker, rather than the build-up, his backstory, which they might warm to, might like. So, it shouldn't always be financial gain. It's about a long-term picture of getting yourself over with a wider audience, especially American fans. So, it's poor, very poor. But I think he's been ill-advised by his management, his lawyer. I was on TalkSport the other week and just sounds like a complete idiot, if you ask me. Not very clued up in boxing, just typical lawyer in the fact that thinking of statistics and money, but not seeing the bigger picture of the boxing world. Often I don't side with Frank Warren, but I was certainly cheering him on as he shot down these lawyers claim by claim by claim. Now the big issue is that as expected with Dillian Whyte and his lawyer team, they expected money up front in a mutual account. Well, and Frank Warren's saying, well, hang on, here's the deal. You've signed the contract. You've got to live up to your part of the bargain before that happens, which I can understand. You don't get paid for nothing in this world. And I believe Frank Warren, when I say Dillian Whyte will get paid, I think it's a massive eyeball moment of the world watching, so I don't think there's going to be any issues with payment, because he knows the whole world is watching. The contracts have been signed. He's got not just him, but he's got the backing of BT Sport and ESPN, a major player in the US. So it just seems like a complete mess on the Dillian Whyte side, but I am disappointed with Team Fury. I think Frank Warren should be going above and beyond now to promote this fight. I don't see that. I don't see many advertisements on this. I don't see ESPN advertising the Top Rank. What's going on there? They should be plugging this every minute of every day, because to overcompensate for the lack of Dillian Whyte, because he's not promoting it, but they're not. So it's a bit of a if you ask me, it's a bit of a real shit show at the moment. And they need to get their finger out, because they've got to sell out Wembley, and they've got to do enough. They've got to do 1 million pay-per-view buys, to get their money back. Because end of the day, it's a huge purse. Fury's on nearly 40 million, Whyte's nearly on 10 million. And they got to recoup and generate that money. So they've got to start spreading that word, and quickly. Just want to talk about the undercard as well. It's underwhelming, but I can understand why when you're paying a fortune to the main fighters. And as expected, obviously there's connections there with Tommy Fury, Tyson's brother, fighting. You've got Isaac Lowe, a very close friend of Tyson Fury, fighting. You've got Royston Barney-Smith, an up-and-coming prospect, again, close to Fury. And you've got David Adelaide, promising heavyweight. He's fighting on it against Healy, so he should be a convincing knockout job. Most of these undercard fights are very one-sided as well, so it's just there to give exposure to, obviously, Frank Warren's fighters and Tyson Fury's connected close friends and family. I can understand that. I'd like to see a few Dillian Whyte fighters though. That would be fair, and I think that would really make things interesting. But we'll see. I mean, even get Babic. There's no reason why he couldn't get on that card. But obviously, he's going towards the zone. But if the money was right and Dillian Whyte pushed it. But this is the problem, isn't it? A lot of Dillian Whyte fighters aren't signed up with the zone and Matchroom and under lock and key. But I'd like to have seen one or two Dillian Whyte fighters for sure. But maybe Babic would have been a bit of a stretch there, because obviously he's a main draw for the Hearn side of things. But yeah, I just I don't really even want to talk about the fight really. We'll break that down at a later stage where tactically how I think it's going to go. I'm just talking about the build up to this. There should be like 24/7 shows going on now. If you watch Showtime and HBO, they used to start like 4 or 5 weeks in advance. That's what you've got to do. You've got to drum up support slowly but surely. The advertisements should be going on. It should be on the Instagram and the Facebook pages every day. Drum it in. They should be getting interviews for fighters now. I know Tyson Fury popped up yesterday with a short interview, which was good, but they've got to get to work. So the PR team need to step it up for sure, because this is going to be a moment in time. This is a huge fight in British history. Wembley, 2 British fighters fighting for the lineal WC and Ring Magazine titles. This is a massive moment and could do so much good for boxing in this country and globally, but especially in the UK. So don't waste this opportunity. Make it happen. Get the PR team going. But it's going to go on and on and on, isn't it? And I think Eddie Hearn's upset that he's not involved, of course, and he's probably in Whyte's here. Don't do this. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do this. Why would you do this? So I just think Whyte's been badly advised. He's been stubborn. There's more to it than just looking at the money, which ironically he's earning 10 times more than he ever has. So, sort it out, basically. But they both fighters look like they're training hard at least. I know Whyte's keeping a low key, but make no mistake about it. He's training hard out in Portugal. Fury looks in good nick. He looks like he's training hard. He lost a bit of weight. I don't want to see him losing too much weight though. If he comes under 19 stone, I don't know. Unless, of course, he's going for something completely different in this fight, where if he's going lighter, that tells me he's going to box. He's not going for any knockout. He's just going to box and move and box Whyte's head off. Go back to his old school style rather than the Rocky Marciano slugger that took out Waldo, needed to put on that extra weight to take the punches coming back at him. So, credit to both fighters for training, but this needs to get sorted now. The undercard needs beefing up a little bit. Like I say, it's not going to be much better because obviously the main event is paying so much, but it needs, I believe, like a European title fight. Something like that is what you want. That would be very, 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 very good if you could do that, or maybe even a Joe Joyce. Not get him I'm not saying get him a world title shot or anything like that. A world title mandatory shot, but get him like a tune-up fight or something. Just get a name on, or even a Daniel Dubois. Just get him a tune-up fight. If you get a big name on there, that would certainly beef up the undercard. But ultimately, they're going full on, aren't they? They're backing the main event is big enough, and it is big enough to attract 100,000. They don't need to beef up the undercard, but I would like to see it anyway. But it's 2.5 weeks out. It's backs to the wall now. Get going, get promoting, because at the moment this is turning into a bit of a disaster.